Hello everyone, Salam, Namaste. So today we have a group of our youngsters who have studied in various schools and colleges and universities in Hong Kong. So let's ask their views about Hong Kong education system. So let's talk to them. Hi guys.
Hello.
You all have studied in various colleges and universities in Hong Kong. Can you share your experiences about Hong Kong's education system with us today?
Who wants to start?
Okay.
I think the Hong Kong education system is actually better than what we would be offered in a lot of different countries, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. What do you guys think?
I think the Hong Kong education system is failing its students. It's a harsh take, but let me explain. The number of students, especially in secondary schools, the number of students studying DSCs who commit suicide because of the pressures applied by the Hong Kong education system and society around it is harsh and it's cruel, and it makes the studying environment very unhealthy. And therefore, one student death from the education system is one too many. That's why it is not good.
But I don't think you can entirely blame that on the education system, because that has a lot to say with how the societies tend to put pressure on students. Obviously, there's a lack of resources. We know there aren't many university places up for grabs when you're giving the DSCs. I think we would know. You know, there's more than 200,000 students every year, but there's only about 20,000 seats.
I mean,
that are up for
yeah, I
grabs,
see, but A-level students even get less seats than DSC students compared to get into universities. Wouldn't you agree, Josh?
Yes.
But what do you think about student suicides?
It's bad to a large extent.
Pumping.
Well, I think it's valid on both sides. While there is too much pressure from the education system, society is also to blame for it. It's very it's interdimensional. You can't just blame one thing or another. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Society.
Also, the education system in Hong Kong fails to provide for its art students.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
the-
thing. That's right.
What's it called?
Creative, I think the creative arts.
SCAD?
No, yeah, SCAD. Did they close down SCAD?
But that's because they were charging way too much.
Really?
Yeah.
They went bankrupt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought.
But we needed SCAD because there's no decent art programs. There's very few decent art programs. I mean, PolyU has one, but that's mostly for design students as opposed to anything else. It is a very good school, but it's very competitive as well.
I mean, we do have the Hong Kong Arts University, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't
It's one
been
try.
to-
And
I think it's one of those schools, like not the mainstream.
no, the Performing Arts, the Performing
Oh,
Arts
the
Academy,
okay,
the Performing
right,
Arts
okay,
Academy.
right,
Yeah,
right.
like that.
APA.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
only one of the few outlets for students who want to study art, and that's a very specific type of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it also stems from the fact that like we live in a very Asian society where society has, or even like our parents have a perception of what is deemed to be the right or esteemed professions, which is why we have like Sanfo and stuff, because otherwise we wouldn't have those. And everybody is steered towards those few majors, and if you're not in those majors, then you're not as supported as if you were in those majors.
That's correct.
So I think if we could find a way to make it a discussion point between communities and parents about opening up the different professions, like going beyond doctor, lawyer, and engineer, without the stigma, do you think more people would actually pursue that?
I mean, yeah, if people had the opportunity, if people were given the choice to, without stigma, without sort of being like shamed into doing something, they might actually try art. Because from personal experience, during secondary school, a lot of people wanted to do A-level drama. But when we were doing drama, there was no A-level drama course. So all of our GCSE drama students were like, well, we don't want to study science or math, we want to do drama. But because we were one of the first batches to ask for it, we didn't get to study drama. But the former batches, they are getting to study drama. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yeah.
There you go.
So, okay, wait. First, who did A-levels? Who did DSE? What did you do, Ripon?
IB.
I did IB.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a different education system in Hong Kong as well.
Why don't you
Wow.
tell us more about the IB system?
Well, for me, I did the IB Diploma program, and that's a 2-year program in secondary school. And basically, there are 6 groups of subjects that you could take, and it kind of has like science and humanities and everything. So it gives you like a whole person development. And there's also a lot of extracurricular activities that are actually compulsory for you to graduate.
Yeah.
So it also ensures that you maintain a social life and you're not just studying.
That
That's very
sounds a lot
well-rounded.
better than our DSE
No,
system,
But
right?
DSE
Compared
has
to-
OLEs,
Yeah,
right?
DSE has OL.
Yeah, but they don't really put much emphasis on it. It's just there like once every week. You have 40-minute classes.
See,
See,
Yeah.
A-levels doesn't have any of that. A-level, you just have
No, but
your
for
syllabus,
IB, like you can start your own project.
and you just go on with it.
Yeah.
For us, OLEs wasn't really about developing like you
And
know,
even the school
your
sets.
character, like whatever. It was just like time pass, just to relax for like 40 minutes each week.
No, for us, like, you know, we had to do community projects. We even started like the UNICEF club at school and everything.
yeah,
So
that's correct.
it was something long term.
It all depends on the school, innit?
That's correct. Yeah, I agree with that.
You wanted to skim school. you wanted
Wait, you
to
guys
say-
went to the same school?
We went to the same school.
I was the
Yeah,
first batch
yeah,
of
they were the first batch
IB.
of IB students.
Oh
Would you
yeah.
have taken the IB? Had
No,
you?
no. I,
Why not?
Why would you take the DSE then? Like, what made you really want to take the DSE?
I had no other option.
We asked if you would take the IB. You
Like,
said
would
no.
you prefer the A levels where you just
Yeah.
choose but a
See,
minimum
I don't
of
know.
3
See,
subjects?
I noticed like how she studies at home. There's just so much work that she does every day, you know, up till midnight. So I wouldn't have been able to survive that. So I would have definitely.
So you would
DSE
rather
is
you would
easier.
rather
Yeah, see,
survive
DSE
DSE.
is relatively easier because it's pretty much what's in the books comes in the papers.
Ah.
I don't know, but when I used to study for the DSE, even though I didn't end up taking the DSE, it was still a lot of work you had to put in. Like, it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of late nights doing assignments that.
memorization.
Yeah.
But
No, I think
I mean,
it's
if you
sort
do
of-
it gradually from Form 4 to Form 6, then you can work it out. But if you leave everything until the end, and when you study leave for that 1 month, then I think you're pretty much in trouble.
But that's
Yeah.
for all. If I can
Yeah.
speak for everyone, I think when you get that study leave, that's when you have to go. Like that's when you the
Cram.
final sprint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember those days I used to do 12-hour
House
study
papers.
days, but you kind of have to.
Yeah. And you know, as Harjot said, it all depends on schools. I totally agree with that because our school actually finished our syllabus for the DSCs 2 to 3 months before our study break. And in those 2-3 months, they just made sure that we were drilled. We had past papers every other week to make sure we know what type of questions were coming in the papers and what to expect. So that really actually helped us, and I don't see any others. I mean, I've talked to people, and I don't see any other schools approaching that sort of methods. So I really think, I mean, schools do make a difference on your perception of everything, how the education system is in Hong Kong. Yeah.
So, Ryan, as a secondary student going to university, do you have any questions, thoughts?
You have
Oh.
6 counselors.
Like, how about like how do you manage your time while going to university? Like, is there enough time to do university and like part-time job or whatever?
Realistically, no. But actually, you manage it. No, I'm just joking. You actually can, because the thing with university is your schedule is not tight like it is in school where it's like 8 to 4. You have classes here and there. So it's about you being able to manage your time to know exactly how much time I need to allocate to everything. And there are a lot of jobs available for university students that have a lot of flexible time and are willing to accommodate to you. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's doable, except for probably like in each major, and this might be major specific. You probably have one year that's busier than the others. Like if your program has a clinical year, then it would be probably more difficult to get a job that year. But all other years, you build your own schedule, so you can do that around what other commitments you have, and it doesn't have to be like a job. Like you might just want to spend time with your friends or like work more towards a hobby. And in like, let's be real, like nobody attends all the lectures in university because you kind of get to like figure out
Which ones are important,
Yeah.
and which ones you can watch back online.
or like which one's the professor is just like literally
Yeah.
reading off the PowerPoint, then
Yeah.
you can just read off the PowerPoint yourself. So you like those things, you kind of make your own judgment call and decide whether or not you want to go, and you have all the time to yourself.
But the key is to know what your learning style is. You need to know how you learn, and if you're a visual learner, then read your books. If you are an audio learner, go to the lectures. Don't skip the lectures then, because you're not gonna go over your class later. So you first need to figure out what your style of learning is and how you are with time management. I'm very chill, so for me it's something I have to be more careful with. She's very strict with her time, so she doesn't have an issue with it. So you have to figure yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, I think like that would make sense because in university it's like you have to do more stuff because like in high school it's like the schedule is made for you, but in university you have to make it. And like for the amount you need to study, like compared to like the study leave, is it like more or less?
Definitely less. Study leave is the most intensive period of time. You're doing a lot of hours every single day. I mean, when you are nearing exams in university, you might be similar, like studying similar hours to as you do in study leave. But then any other time, you're probably fine. It's not as intense.
But it also depends on your major again.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't have any exams. I'm an arts major. So for me, I don't even have to pay attention to some of the topics that they're teaching. As long as I know I want to work on like a specific topic for my final work, I just have to pay attention to that. And the rest I can just forget I even learned it, or forget even the professor talked about it. But then for science, I think Josh probably knows better, like the exam systems and everything. So
Yeah, you have to learn everything.
You gotta put your head down and read.
Yeah, you have to
Read
have a
and-
final for every course. You got midterm for every course. You got your project every year.
The key to having fun in uni is to make sure you just read up on your class.
Yeah.
Read up on it, do what you need to do for that specific time that you allocate in a week to it. Prepare before your class, and then be proactive in class if you do go, which you should. And,
Tutorials definitely.
and then
Tutorials, yeah,
take attendance for
tutorials.
tutorials. Never space.
Lectures, sure. Tutorials, no.
Yeah.
Yes, and then after that you have all the time in the world to do whatever you want because you are on top of your game. But it depends on your major.
Yeah, my major is very 100% exam, like one exam. That's it. So I could go September to November, not going to any classes, not learning anything. I don't do that. I'm just saying I could, and then and cram that last month, and it would be fine because I have no midterms, next to no essays, and only one final exam. There is obviously cons to that. Like if you screw up that one exam, then that's it. Like game over. You have to take it again. But if you're better at taking exams, that sort of works for you as well. Yeah.
Any more questions that are?
No, I think I'm fine.
So we were talking about the systems, right? But do you realize in Hong Kong we use a very British colonial system, and as A-level people, we always had to do harder exams than A-levels in the UK. Yet the system there is so much more different. We're still so academically focused here, whereas over there they've started to bring in arts and other aspects, humanities, and made them more compulsory for students to bring them to becoming more, rounded, well-rounded. Do you think that's
No.
You think no? You think we
No,
shouldn't?
I think we should because I did drama and it was quite fun. It was quite enjoyable, and I didn't have to be in a classroom all day. I enjoyed it.
You don't look like you're having a very positive reaction.
I don't care about arts and drama.
Yeah, we
Same.
didn't get the chance to do all these.
You didn't get the chance,
Yeah.
which is why you don't see.
But I
how
think that's
good
very
it
much
is.
down to because Hong Kong does not really have a creative industry like as big as the UK. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but we don't need a creative industry for us to be creative people.
Yeah, it's also about just developing yourself as an individual.
But I think it plays into effect because people are then more focused around studying like finances, economics, business, and other
But
fields.
like, imagine having an arts background and then going to those fields. You could be more creative. You could have creative thinking powers. You know.
Me,
Yeah.
I did arts, I've done drama, and I went into a science and commerce field. And for me, that's actually been more beneficial because the most important thing is it's not just about having those experiences, it's about how it develops
Yeah,
your
that's right.
brain. That's something I feel like people are overlooking is how do we become better people and not just better students.
I think it's just about like being in Hong Kong just makes you think that way. Because when I was studying in UK for like the 2 years, I took music there for GCSE, But then after coming back, I didn't even think about taking it again.
Yeah.
That's just the Hong Kong.
I mean, you took drama, right, in your school?
I didn't take drama, but like I'm a part of a drama group.
Yeah, it's usually-
But like I mean, it's kind of what Josh said. It depends on every culture and every individual, because it's true in a sense. Like Hong Kong is more like DSE exams, and then in DSE you don't really have like music should be compulsory or anything. But at the same time, I feel like if you make every subject compulsory, it also like loses the true purpose of it.
Yeah.
So like what like Tav said as well, it's really like on the student, like what they want to do and how they want to develop themselves as a person, not just as a student.
I don't think it has to be a compulsory subject, but it could be a compulsory activity, like
Yeah.
OLEs
That's right.
and everything. You must pick an instrument, and it sounds very draconian, but
There's always
It's-
ways around it. The OLE, they implemented it with the same, I'm assuming with an intention of, you know,
All-roundedness.
Yeah, all-roundedness and having
Yeah, they
people do
did.
extracurriculars. But in reality, what OLE is you having that 9th lesson, you being put in a group where it says needlework class, for example.
Yeah.
And then you sit there for 40 minutes, and then the 40 minutes are over, you go back and you continue studying. It doesn't do anything.
I mean, there's a point because Hong Kong students do study a lot, spend a lot of time in school.
Yeah.
but those 40 minutes that you were not studying are what your brain needed
You're
to
just
recharge.
sitting there. You're not
That's
doing
fine.
anything.
Your brain needs
Your
the
brain needs to
stillness.
relax.
So that's the thing. But
That's
you
your
can't-
brain needs the stillness.
But that is
That's not
not.
art.
Yeah, it's
It's
not really
not. So
contributing
what
to.
we can do is we could find different ways to implement it better. But also, I personally am a big fan of putting in mandatory meditation sessions for students.
That I agree.
And behind
I mean,
the scenes,
I've
we're getting
worked-
a lot of fans for this because your brain needs stillness.
No,
guys.
because I worked in a school as well, and even like it was a primary school. Every 10, like they have a 10 to 15 minute session every morning where
Yeah.
they're just like playing music and they're just telling students like relax or just close your eyes, take deep breaths, do some exercises together.
Was that
Yes.
here or in Australia?
Here,
Yeah, we
in
did
Hong
that-
Kong, it was
we
9Q. It
did
was
that.
at primary
We
school.
did
Wow.
that in our
Yeah.
secondary
Yeah,
school.
our primary school went places.
We did that in secondary
we
school.
were
I just
there-
realized
Great,
with
primary
Jessica
school's
Choi.
also
When I went there to like
When she
tutor
was
for,
head of
one
year, that's what you do. Our 15, 20, 30 minutes in every morning was relaxation meditation. Instead of reading the bulletin board, you just like sleep, rest, do whatever you want, relax. I just realized she
I
did
feel like
that.
midday's better, but still. Good
Wait,
place
you
to start.
guys studied overseas? I'm hearing Australia, the
Funny
UK.
stories. Let's go.
Yeah. So I went to Spain for my 1 semester exchange. So I was there about 5 to 6 months. And it was, I mean, it's pretty relaxing as an exchange student when you go abroad. They don't really pressure you as much to do your coursework. In fact, I fell out with one of my group mates in one class and they kicked me out and I didn't have to do the presentation. The teacher was like, it's okay, no problem. You can just leave it. Just write me an essay instead. So that's what I did. And one funny thing that happened there was we were having like a melting pot sort of thing. And we were there and so this boy approaches me and he's like, hey dude, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. He's like, where are you from? And I said, Hong Kong. And then he said, oh, Hong Kong? That's in Africa, isn't it? So I was like, what? No way. I think that pretty much he assumed that because I was a skin tone.
We can't.
Racism.
No, racism. No, but I think that speaks a lot about how their education system is because if you go to Europe or you go to America, their education system is
Atrocious.
It's like a world of its own. They don't look
Yeah.
outside of that bubble.
Yeah.
Whereas in Hong Kong, I did politics in university, and they taught us about Europe. They taught us about America, India. We talked about every single thing,
Yeah.
not just Hong Kong.
Facts.
But whereas in Europe or America, people don't really get the chance to do that. So
Yeah, that's
I
very
think
true.
that's one plus point of studying in Hong Kong
Yeah.
to studying abroad. And Josh, you went to Korea as well, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
So in Korea, they actually talked a lot about their secondary school education as well. How they end up spending every day from like 7 in the morning to like midnight just studying, just cramming, and then they finally go back home for like maybe 6 hours to then do the same thing again the very next day, 5 days a week. And that's like even worse than Hong Kong. But my experience there as an exchange student was really relaxing. it's there's no pressure at all when you're on exchange, and it's all A's. It's so easy. And
Just-
we have a lot of free time, especially because when you're exchange, you just stay in the dorms, you live there, and you don't have any
that's right.
travel time to like school or anything. You have a lot of extra time, and especially the classes oriented towards the exchange students were extra fun, interesting, stimulating. Like one of my classes was mass media and popular culture in Korea, and we learned all about the different dramas, iconic drama, movies, music artists, all that, and it was in that class we went on a field trip to different drama studios, and we did a performance of a
Sounds great.
popular music.
Sounds yeah, sounds
Dance
pretty
cover.
interesting.
Yeah. Just one thing I wanted to add on to my story is about we're talking about how easy it is for exchange students, right? So when I was having my geopolitics exam, so the teacher was like, okay, you can bring your books, you can use your laptops, your phones. So it turns out I remember that Hajot told me he's read the book. So what I was doing is I was looking at the question, I was sending him pictures of the questions, Hajot. He was telling me the answers and I was writing it down in Spain. So that was pretty awesome, and then ended up getting a 7 out of 10. So all thanks to him and perhaps her as well. She wanted to be
This is the part where you say why I asked 30 questions.
Well done.
It's like outsourcing and it's further outsourcing. Right?
Take away.
I just remembered you did that. That was amazing, man.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
And that is what you need. We need teamwork.
And that is
Don't study hard, study smart.
exactly.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
say that again.
Don't study hard, but study smart.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay?
And that is the key to
And-
life.
The definition
The
of
learnings
teamwork.
of
Because
Okay,
it makes
so
the
that's-
world work.
Wait,
you know?
Ripon, you went to exchange too, right?
Yeah, I went to exchange in the UK. So like what we already said, a lot of it was very similar to what's been going on in Hong Kong. So maybe I'll just talk about my 2-month immersion in Australia. I was there for 2 months as a compulsory part for my education program. And one interesting thing that really stood out was that I stayed with a homestay family. It was a local Australian family, so I really got to see their culture. And their life priorities are very different from Hong Kongers. Like Hong Kongers will work from office from 9 to 9. For them, like my homestay mom, she would leave at 8. She'd be home by 4.
Wow.
And then she just spend 2 hours like talking to her family and stuff. So yeah, that's like one thing that I really took away from my exchange.
Amazing.
Our exchange was fun. You didn't have one. I didn't get to go.
I went before university, but
Well, in that case, we
won't
all went that. Yeah, no. Mine was just like, you can't go. Terrorism. That's
What?
it.
Yeah, because the Istanbul attacks happened,
Istanbul
and then
attacks happened. So
Right,
yeah, so
right,
exactly.
right.
Istanbul attacks happened. I was
Oh,
so excited. They're
goodness
like,
me.
too bad, it's dangerous, and I'm like, really? The rest of the world isn't? But fine, I guess I won't get to go this
ISIL.
time.
God. My God, my God.
we don't like ISIL.
Or in Spanish we would say madres míos.
Desi,
Desi, Desi,
Desi, Desi, Desi, Desi, Walker, Desi, 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 Walkers.